Hey guys, we appreciate everybody out there following us on different social media platforms and subscribing to our iTunes. We thought it'd be a good idea to kind of talk to you about what each one of us has done in the industry. And so today I'm going to be talking to Ryan, how he's grown his business, where he started, and what things that you guys can take away every day on your day-to-day business to help you, right? So, hey Ryan, appreciate you sitting down, right?
Oh, thanks, man.
And talking about this. I'm a big fan, obviously, of you, and that's why we're doing this together, right?
I appreciate that.
We have so much in common when it comes to just the hustle and that kind of thing that it takes to really be successful in this industry. I think it's important for the audience to know. Tell us about your numbers, your teams that you've done in the past, what you're doing now, those kind of things. So walk us through that.
So I got into real estate when I was right out of high school. I had an opportunity to work for a new home builder here in town. Learned so much, was blessed to work with just some incredible people that taught me the business of sales.
Yeah.
And I really became very fascinated by it and enamored by sales and helping people, something I'd never even thought of growing up. Like I think you had said before, they don't really have classes for that in schools.
Right.
So it was a world that I really began to love pretty quickly. And it just, one thing kind of led to another. I happened to fall into real estate. It was just kind of the industry that I fell into, but I loved it. I loved the opportunity to help people, help them with credit, help them through the process of learning how to get into a home. And throughout the years, that just we had the opportunity to grow. I had some really good people around me, and so we started to grow pretty quickly. And then I got out of the business for about 2 years, right, 2009, 2010, right at the armpit of the real estate economy, and was blessed to go work for a home improvement contractor and learned so much about how houses work, which kind of through my second stint in real estate has just really turned out to be invaluable, because I can get up on roofs and I can go have conversations now that just have really helped me fuel my real estate career as well. So I love that. I'm thankful for it. And it also showed me how to run a business. I was working at a large roofing company at the time, and the owner of that company, who I want to get on this podcast badly, he really showed me to achieve success is just following some fundamental principles. And he showed me what a lot of those principles were in that industry. And when I got back into real estate in 2012, it really helped me grow quickly. It really helped me start surrounding myself with good people, learn the value of leadership, learn the value of, hey, here's the things that you need to do consistently every single day in order to achieve success in a handful of years. And it really took off. We got to the point in 2016, 2017, I believe it was, where we were doing 18, 22, $23 million a year and over 100 units a year as a real estate team. And I just kind of got to the point that wasn't where I wanted to be. That wasn't the industry that or I shouldn't say the industry, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. There was some growth in there that I probably mismanaged a little bit, and really took a long look at my business and said, what do I want this to look like? What do I want to do every day in my business? And that really evolved more around working with the people that love to do the same stuff I do, race car people, stuff that love adrenaline stuff, and but more than that, just people that value the same thing that I do, that value people that want to work hard, people that show up on time and do what they say they're going to do. And we really took a step back. So hopefully this next couple of years we can take 2 or 3 giant ones forward. But it was all about getting clear on who we are, what our vision is, and who do we want to be as we continue to grow our business.
Oh my gosh, I love that, right? So you're loving what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
How important is that? Loving every day going in.
It makes all the difference in the world. And, real estate's a great vehicle to do it. Showing houses isn't my favorite thing in the world to do, but I love the process of helping people get to where they want to be, very similar to you. And, a lot of that has stemmed into some coaching opportunities now, which I'm doing a lot of. And I absolutely love just seeing how I can use my experience to help people take that next step in their life. And that's really
great.
Our focus right now.
That is great. Let's go back a little bit. I'd like to dive deeper into what you said already. So number one, what got you back into the real estate world, right?
Well, funny enough, I said I was working in the home improvement industry, and man, those guys work a lot. We think we work a lot. Man, they're at work at 6:30 in the morning, and they're at work until the sun goes down. And it's a very demanding business, but it's a very rewarding business as well for those that do it well. And so I just simply got tired of leaving for work before my son got up and getting home after he was already almost asleep. And I really missed that. Those are really formidable years for him. And I missed being there. And that wasn't what I was about. So I got back into real estate, which did not open up my schedule nearly like I thought it was going to. But it's provided a different degree of flexibility to, if I need to go pick him up from school, like I can certainly fit that into my day now, whereas I couldn't before. And, it was just important for me to be there for my son, be there for my wife now, and just be a more well-rounded individual for me. That was important. So
you've talked about now on your journey here of being in new home construction, being in home improvement, and the real estate world, some of the sales basics, right? That are consistent across those three. Tell us about those. What are those sales basics that you're doing all the time that you've learned across those three different industries?
So this is one of my favorite stories to tell. But when I went to work for this home improvement contractor, I was ingrained into me from day one that you got to call people, you got to talk to people every single day, you got to follow up with people because not everybody's going to buy the first time that they, that you talk to them. There's follow up involved. There's so many foundational pieces that you can do that are free, like you always like to say. They don't cost you any money, that if you do them well, man, you quickly start differentiating yourself. So where I was going with that is I went in on a Saturday morning to this company. It was the first week I was there. I knew nothing about what I was doing at all. But man, there was stacks for those people watching on. I mean, there was a proposals this big of people that needed roofs. And I'm just like, shit, I don't have anything else to do Saturday morning. So I always just go into the office and make phone calls on Saturday morning. I'm not joking. I signed up 6 roofs that Saturday morning.
That's great.
And
in your first week?
In my first week, not knowing anything, but simply making phone calls to people that just were waiting on somebody to call them back, that were waiting on somebody to just say, that answer one question about what needs to happen next. And nobody was calling these people. So I just took some of the foundational pieces of what I had always done, talk to people about what I do every day, do it every day, and then follow up with those that don't say yes the first time, which is most. And oh my gosh, I quickly started selling a lot of roofs very, very quickly. And then that led to bigger and better opportunities within that company. And I just loved it. It was a great, great experience.
And you were willing to make those calls, even though you know that the majority of those were going to tell you no.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sure. I mean, like I said, the stack was this big. I don't know how many. I wasn't tracking calls and stuff.
Sure.
I certainly do that now. So I wasn't tracking those. But I was in there from 8:30 in the morning to I left around 1 or so. So however many calls you can make in that 4-hour period of time or whatever it was. And yeah, I sold 6, but man, there was probably 80 calls in there if I had to guess. There was plenty.
So I love another thing you said in there. You said follow-up, right? Gosh, I mean, again, a lot of things we're going to talk about are sound so simple, but follow-up such a big one, right?
It's pivotal.
I mean, if you guys are listening out there, go get a CRM. If you don't have a CRM,
please.
Yeah, any CRM is better than no CRM, I would say. And it's such a big piece of your follow-up that you can use, day to day.
Because I don't care who you are, and I was the guy forever that was just, I got this.
Spreadsheets.
Yeah, I got a spreadsheet. Got my sticky notes here. My computer screen's littered with sticky notes. It's like I was all of that. And it wasn't until I was with a company that really had, an amazing follow-up tool. It had a way that I knew when I sat down to make phone calls, I knew who to call. I didn't have to go look for their phone number, go sort through what I do with that sticky note. I didn't have to do any of that. It was a well thought out process for how do I be successful. And it was just logging in every morning. Here's the people I need to call, and actually making those phone calls. And magically, I started having more and more success the more and more I did that.
Very cool. Let's switch gears a little bit. So one of the things that we're buddies, right? One of the things that I want everyone out there to know that I absolutely love about what you did with your business, you took something that you love that has nothing to do with real estate, racing, right? We're here in Indianapolis. That's a big thing around here, right?
Yeah.
Is racing. And so that's something that you loved, and you kind of turned it into a benefit for you in the real estate world. You immersed yourself in this real estate community, or in this racing community here in Indianapolis. Walk us through that, because everybody out there's got something else that they love. No, you don't necessarily love to show houses or to do loans. You've got something else. Like, talk to us about that.
No, so it's really, again, we talk about coaches and mentors, right? And people that help you see things. And I was very fortunate to, stumble upon a podcast. This lady's name is Jen Casey, and she has a program called Pitch to Your Niche. And I was driving home from Tulsa. I was just bored. I was, it's like 2:00 in the morning, and I'm just like looking for anything that's like going to help me learn something new and just whatever. And I stumble across this podcast, and Jen Casey, she's talking about pitch to your niche. And that just started ringing with me. And I listened to probably 4 or 5 episodes of her podcast on the way home. And I'm like, babe, I looked over at my wife and I'm like, babe, I've got an idea. And we just, instead of like trying to own race cars, instead of trying to do all this, what if we just support the people that we love in this community and the people that, like to do the same things that we do and maybe go have a beverage or go have dinner from time to time? Why don't we just support them in what they do? And so we've got, I think there's 14 or 15 cars this year, including a couple iRacing cars that have our sticker on it. And man, I love going to local dirt track races.
That's so cool.
I love the people. I love what they value. I love doing it myself still. I've not raced in a handful of years. That's not my goal anymore, really. But I just love the people of that community. I love what they do. And, there's so many good stories. And those are the people I want to work with. Those are the people I want to serve. Not saying I don't want to help anybody else, but if I, have my choice of what I'm going to do on a Saturday night, I'd just rather go to a dirt track and hang out with those people. And as time evolved, more and more of them started calling us to help them with homes, or they started calling with questions. We've got a couple people we've been able to help out in California right now. And I'm not helping them directly, but they called me because they seen that we were doing some, we did real estate and we work with the racing community, simply put that. And they had questions, and I was able to partner them with other real estate agents out in California now that are helping them throughout that process that kind of value the same things that they do. So,
I love that. So that takeaway right there is pitch to your niche.
I stole that from her, and I'm going to keep, I'm definitely going to keep riding that wave. But I think what you said, though, is everybody has something they love. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a lady 2 or 3 days ago now that she's huge into yoga, and that's just what she does. I was going to a yoga class, and her story just blows me away, but she's also in the real estate community, and all she does is go to yoga classes. She began teaching yoga classes, and all of a sudden she's helping more and more people that love yoga. Pets, you name it, whatever you love, just go immerse yourself in that world, find ways to support and love on those people, and man, it'll come back to you in buckets. It really has. It's like, I love helping race car drivers, but honestly, the fans, the people that nobody knows about, those are my favorite people to help because they got all the cool stories and they're just awesome.
You have so much in common with them.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
There's so many things to talk about. Do you think that buyers out there want to work with an app or someone that's in their yoga class, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you and I have talked about this a lot, but I definitely feel that there is a place for that iBuyer for those people that don't know what I'm saying when I say iBuyer. When you're using an app to get a loan, you're using an app to try to find a house. That certainly serves a role, but man, real estate being expensive, emotional, and infrequent, a lot of times you need a professional to help navigate that process. Somebody that you trust, and ideally somebody that just maybe has a little bit in common with you that you don't mind having a conversation with too. And I feel there's always going to be a place, but where I love what is happening, the disruption in the industry, it's forcing everybody to get better. It's forcing everybody to quit resting on their laurels and doing what they've always done and evolve and get better and embrace some of this technology that's moving our business forward versus saying, oh my gosh, that's not how we do it. Well, forget that. Go get left behind then. Let's move forward here. The world's always changing.
So if I hear you right, then your business plan to kind of compete with that iBuyer is to embrace a little bit of it. So walk us through that. I mean, what's that look like day to day on how you're going to embrace that iBuyer mentality?
I'll give you an example. And so this was about 2-3 years ago now. Actually, at the end of 2015, we had a buyer. There's some institutional investors here in the Indianapolis market that were buying thousands of houses. American Homes for Rent as an example, Progress. I mean, these companies own thousands of homes, and and it's like, if I'm going to compete with this, which I'm going to have to because they're buying the same houses cash that I'm trying to sell or help people sell. They're making it easy. I said, well, if I can't beat this, why don't I just join them? And so I started a website called IndianapolisInstantOffer.com where people could go in and submit, put their property information in online, and we would connect them with an investor that would just buy their house sight unseen, cash, waive the inspection, and it just made it easier for people to make that transition from one house to the next. Now, they didn't always come out making as much money as they would have if they would have fixed it up, but they also didn't have to make 48 trips to Lowe's getting their house ready to sell, go through 3 months of that process. They literally were able to just take this offer, move out whenever we wanted to move out, and easily transition into the next house. And it wasn't right for everybody, but there's been a good 15, 16 people, I believe, that we've helped with that over the last handful of years. And it's a good fit for some people. It's not for everybody. And I think as professionals, we see this and say, oh, that's going to take away every buyer that exists. No, it's not. There's millions of people in this world that need our help or that need help in this direction. Man, there's so much of an abundance of opportunity to help people. Just go find your people and go help them out. Quit worrying about all that. But if there's an opportunity to embrace it, by all means, do it.
Yeah.
I ended up selling that website, and it actually worked out perfect.
So I love that, right? So all these people are out there and they're saying, oh my gosh, this is going to take over our world and our jobs and all these things. And you embraced it and you ran with it. And there's so many of those instances out there in our day to day. And we talk about it a lot. Keep your head down and do loans. Keep your head down and sell houses, right? There's plenty out there to go out and get. So speaking of that, right? This is not a derogatory term. You're a hustler. I love that about you, right? What does that mean to you? I consider that a skill that people need in this industry is to really be a hustler. What's that mean to you to be a hustler?
It really just means, I'm going to shift that definition a little bit, but it's doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it and doing it every time. Being a professional. And, for me, I've got high goals, high standards. The things I love just happen to cost a lot of money. I love airplanes, motorcycles, race cars, things like that. Well, if I want to play in that world, unfortunately, I've got to, just do more things. I don't get to just, sit around and, go status quo all the time. Not that there's anything wrong with that from time to time, but, it's just, that's just the world I live in. The things that make me happy just happen to cost a little bit more money. And so I've got to do a little bit more of that every single day. But I love it when you get into the flow of what you're doing and what you really enjoy doing well. For me, that's, I love working with people. I love coaching. I love training. And I love making phone calls still, man. Just getting down and getting down and doing the brass tacks work that always pays off tenfold. I mean, it always pays off. If I sit down for an hour and make calls, there will be something that comes of that. Maybe not today, and maybe not tomorrow, but when you're top of mind for people, especially your people you've had the opportunity to help before, just making a phone call and saying, dude, what's up? We haven't talked for a good minute. What's new in your world? Or just anything like that, just to let people know you exist, that you're alive, and that you care about them.
Consistency, right?
Consistency,
you just said
consistency. If there's one thing I've learned, especially doing this podcast and interviewing people, man, there's no rocket science to success. There really, really isn't. You can achieve success, whatever that means to you. People can achieve it if they're willing to do one thing, and that's be consistent every single day.
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit before about your website and that kind of thing. Are there technologies that you're using? Let's talk about that. Let's explore that a little bit. So we've talked a bunch about the free things you can do out there, right? There's so many technologies in our industry.
No doubt.
What are some of the ones that maybe helped you along the way that you could share out there that other people can go get, maybe that aren't as expensive as some of the bigger ones? What are you seeing out there that's helped you?
No doubt. And one of the things you mentioned before is just simply having a basic CRM. If you don't have something that tells you who you need to talk to, when you need to talk to them again, you're going to forget. We all have too many things going on in life. We're all trying to balance and juggle too many things in order to keep all of that straight. And you forget to follow up with one person one time, you're going to feel it, and, one of the things I do a lot of training on is, in sales in general, if you quit prospecting for a day, you could lose a sale. You forget to follow up with one person that has a question that's right there on the tip of doing something, and you don't make that phone call at 7:30 at night, you might lose a sale. You quit doing it for a week, you're going to feel it in your checkbook. You quit doing it for a month, and oftentimes you dig yourself into a hole that it's difficult to recover from, or it takes 90 days to dig yourself out of that hole. But when you just do it every single day, the momentum builds, and simply after 90 days, magic starts to happen. If you do those activities every day, talking to people in our business, showing homes, listing homes, negotiating deals, etc. So it's just doing it. Consistency is what I have found is the main pillar of success for most people that have achieved that. Most people aren't just, oh, I did one thing and I made $1 million. No, it's just I did one thing incredibly well over a long period of time, which led to that success.
So one cool thing about you and your wife that I think a lot of people out there may be running into from time to time, they have to switch markets. Right? Maybe their spouse moved or whatever whatever that is, or they're new to the industry. You just did something on purpose where you did you're getting out in California and doing a little bit of thing. But if I'm an audience member and I'm out there and I'm either new to the industry or I just came to Indianapolis or somewhere in Indiana, right, and got thrown into a new community, what would you do in your first 90 days? Walk us through that.
Man, that's a good question. 90 days, you can do so much amazing stuff. If I was going to start over right now in this industry, I would really take some time. I'd probably take the first couple weeks at a minimum and really learn who Who do I need to talk to? Who are the players in this industry, and who are the best people that I can go learn from, that know the area the best, that are achieving success, at a very high level and have done that consistently. And I want to go learn from those people. I'm not quite 40, almost there now, and I have tried to think I've got it for way too long. And it wasn't until I just let go of a lot of that and just started learning from people that, oh my gosh, I started seeing success happen much more quickly. So I would take a couple weeks minimum and go learn. I would, better understand, okay, what are they doing every day to be successful? Who are the people that I can go network with that can be a referral stream down the road, and just go help those people out. And just simply putting yourself in a community of people, whether that's, the right real estate office, the right real estate company, but you've got to be around people that are doing what you want to do. And you've got to be around people that are supporting doing that as well. I'm a very big believer in community and just surrounding yourself with people that are going to help elevate your game. And so that would be the first thing that I do. After that, I'm going to work. I mean, there is not an industry in sales that you can sell anything without talking to somebody. And if it is, you're a commodity. I'm sorry. So you've got to have conversations with people. You've got to ask people good questions to determine where can I build some value for this person. And you've got to do that a lot, because not everybody, especially in the real estate world, is going to need your services right now. And hell, they may not need it for 7 to 10 years, but they know people that do. They're always talking to people at work that happen to be moving, or they have a friend, a sister, a brother, a relative, you name it, that happens to be moving. And so how are you going to keep yourself top of mind, and how do you help them solve whatever challenges they need to solve to buy their house or sell their house, whatever that may happen to be? Going out and networking with people is without a doubt one of the things I have learned to come to love. I didn't used to enjoy that a whole lot. Going out as a shy kid growing up in Nebraska, I never wanted to go meet new people. I was too scared to. And then once you learn how to start asking people questions and engage people a little bit more, that becomes fun. And I really enjoy getting to know people. And that's turned into opportunities for, within our coaching business. It's led into real estate business opportunities for us. And, that's what I love about it, is just surrounding yourself with good people that are going to help get you to where you want to be. And all you have to do is just go find them. Most people that are achieving success are so willing to share, I have learned, and they want to help. And that's probably the biggest thing I've taken away and really employed the last handful of years in my life.
Well, I'll tell you, just, in our friendship here, that you are a master at that. You're actually one of the best I have seen at really digging in and finding out what makes people tick. And it's a skill, and I love that. I love that about you. So if people are taking away some of that stuff, right, it's you're thrown into a new market. It's networking, it's getting coached, and it's building value and doing the work, right? Those are your takeaways.
If you are looking for technology to do the work for you, it's not going to. You've got to have a good CRM. You've got to have good tools in place to help you manage the process, because like you said before, you've got to have processes. You have to have systems, because there's way too many moving parts in this thing, at least, the real estate sales industry and in the lending world, there's too many moving parts to try to keep it all up here. You've got to have a process in place in order to manage that. So for me, that's using a good CRM. When somebody goes onto our website, they click on a house, now I get notified. So that technology notifies me that this person's been online. They've looked at this house 14 times. I might want to call that person.
Right.
There might be a degree of interest right there,
right,
versus sending a text or sending an email, because it's easy to tell me no through text or email. You got to, if I get you on the phone, you can, I'm just looking up, I'm just kind of browsing, but I'm going to ask 2 or 3 more questions. And I'll probably open the door for a conversation. If I can ask you enough questions, I'm going to find an area that I could be of service in.
Oh my gosh.
And it's keep persisting through that. So.
Yeah. I love that. Let's talk about this. So many changes in the industry, and so many things on the horizon, good and bad. What keeps you up at night when you're thinking about, our industry in general? What keeps you up at night?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think the answer to that's really evolved a lot over the years, but I see so many people, in this industry, especially, that, compare themselves to other people. They're like, I love competition. I love scoreboards, but you know what? If you can live the life that you want to live, and all you need to do is do 40 loans a year, or you need to sell 20 houses a year to do that, cool. Be that, but man, do those deals the very, very best you can. And, so what I've found is as I really love working with people and helping people figure out what that calling is. I've certainly gone through that process myself where I wasn't happy doing what I was doing, and so I had to make some expensive and uncomfortable changes, but it's really led to where I'm at now. I've never been more happy about what I'm doing. I've never had more opportunities in front of me right now, and it just starts to come back to you in buckets after you just do it consistently time in and time out. So, I guess what worries me or what keeps me up is just how do I help more people do that? How do I get the word out there? Doing this podcast is a big part of that for me. I'm so passionate about this. I love doing this. And, I don't know. I think that's it. Is just how do I help more people break through doing something they think they have to do to really empowering them to do something they want to do and doing it at an extraordinary high level so they can get paid to do it.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. Get a coach.
That's
Get
it.
a coach.
That's
Get a
it.
coach.
It's changed my life. It absolutely has changed my life. I mean, I mentioned Jen Casey earlier. That's changed my wife in so many ways, has helped me see so many new perspectives, from a emotional and spiritual, journey that we've been on, which I love as well. So yeah, it's just putting yourself around the right people that are going to help you become the person you want to be.
So this has been an awesome talk. So many good takeaways, right? Stick to the sales basics, network, right? For those that pitch to your niche, that is such a big takeaway.
That's something, just to share one more brief story on this. And again, I was just out in California and I was talking to this lady and she just loves dogs. She is just a dog. She loves them. I don't care who they are. There'd be two people walking dogs going down the street. She's like running out there to go pet them. And don't get me wrong, I like dogs, but that's like, she's a whole nother level. I'm sitting there, I'm like, Susan, why don't we find a way that you can go to a humane society once a month, and instead of buying all these leads online that you don't want to talk to anyway, let's take those marketing dollars and perhaps you can just reallocate those to spay and neuter dogs on a Saturday morning for people that can't afford to do that need to get that done. Or maybe you provide free vaccinations for a Saturday morning and bring yourself out there, meet people that need that done. And you're serving two things. You're serving the people that have those dogs and you're serving the animals themselves. And just helping people find that and connect a couple dots for them. That's what it took for me, is just somebody else helping me connect a few dots within my life. And I love doing that. I love just helping people, turn this switch or turn that knob. And because I think as people, we're all really pretty close. It's just sometimes just a little tweak here, a little adjustment here, a little pivot in this industry, in this way, and everything can change.
Well, I love your passion, and there's so many good things that people could take away from this podcast. So I truly appreciate sitting down.
Thank you.
And looking forward to more of this in the future. So
cool, man. Well, Austin, I definitely appreciate it, and hopefully this was helpful for everybody. Be sure, if you have not, subscribe, rate, and review if you found this helpful at all. And know if there's anything that Austin and I could do to help out, it'd be our pleasure. And you can reach out to us in any way. Thanks so much.